Jason Smith was playing at centre forward for his team a few weeks ago. He's a pretty good footballer and, up until today, his team had not been beaten during the whole season. For Jason, today was to have been the greatest day of the year. Jason does all right in classroom. Not brilliant, about average. Football gets most of his attention and, now that he's playing at centre forward, every spare minute is occupied with a bit of kicking practice. For the last 2 days, Jason has missed the bus and found himself in a little bit of trouble when he finally arrived home. But today, everything's okay, so he doesn't mind the sarcastic comments from his friends.
Sit down and behave yourself. You'll have to wait for the next one.
Jason suffered a broken leg and a broken hip in the accident. It could have been a lot worse. Let's have another look at Jason's bus ride and see what was wrong.
Sit down and behave yourself.
It's fairly obvious what's wrong here. Calling out to the driver is very bad practice. The driver can be distracted for a moment and then everybody's at risk. Nobody should ever behave like this boy. Jason assumed others behind him were getting off, and so he would have plenty of time to cross over in front of the bus. He did not do the right thing, which is stay on the footpath until the bus has moved off. Then, if the road is clear, cross over. There are also 3 other things Jason didn't think about. If the bus driver decided to pull out, he could not see Jason in that position. And the drivers of any oncoming cars cannot see Jason. Jason can't see any oncoming traffic. And when he moves out further into the road, he's in a very vulnerable position. The driver of the car was not to blame. With Jason suddenly appearing, there was not much he could do to avoid hitting him. In fact, this accident could have been a lot worse if the road had been wet, the driver was not as quick in braking, or the car had inefficient brakes. This is Jane Harrington's desk, but Jane won't be in today because she's in the intensive care ward at the hospital.
Jane Harrington, please don't forget to bring that book for me tomorrow.
Oh, it's a history book. Actually, I'll leave it to take. I must remember to get it back from her.
Okay.
Jane is one of the brightest girls in her class, always reliable and helpful to others. On her journeys to and from school, she is always very careful. In fact, her friends sometimes think she is perhaps a bit too much so.
Chloe, cross now you get hit. You've got to wait till all the cars stop. Now look, all those cars. history book back? Yeah, it's in my bag now. Hang on, I'll get it now. Jane! Jane! Oh no, Jane!
Quickly, someone call an ambulance.
Jane suffered extensive injuries and is critically ill. If she survives, it will be many months before she is back at school.
Did you remember to bring my
Jane's
history book
accident
back?
was entirely her own fault. For possibly the first time in her life, she acted without thinking. Crossing a road so near to a traffic light-controlled intersection is very dangerous. In this case, the car driver had a green light to turn, and after negotiating the corner, his concentration could possibly have lessened to some extent. A pedestrian crossing in front of him at this point would have been totally unexpected. Jane's accident was the result of two things. If a children's crossing or a zebra crossing or a traffic light crossing is available, it must be used. Be constantly alert. Think about what you're doing. Jane did neither. Richard Jones is without doubt one of the greatest traffic hazards in town. He is totally unaware of other road users and seems to think that if there are rules of the road, they're for others to observe, not him.
Oh, that Richard Jones again. He'll kill himself or someone else one day soon. Why can't someone teach him how to ride a bike properly?
Oh, he's hopeless, Mum. You can't talk to him. He thinks he's the greatest in the world and everyone else is a fool.
I'll be a bit late this afternoon. I've got a lot to do, so you two just wait till I get there, okay?
Yes, Mum.
Susan, I'm in a bit of a rush, dear. Will you get someone to put a Band-Aid on George's cut? And don't forget I'll be late after school, okay?
Okay.
So just wait.
Bye.
Susan, George, their mother and Richard Jones all got to school more or less unharmed today. But what about tomorrow, or the next day, or the day after that? Will George remember to wear his seatbelt? If he doesn't, and there's a collision, he could be catapulted through the windscreen and end up as an unrecognizable mess on the roadway. Richard hasn't had an accident yet, but it can't be far away. His attitude to other road users is a sure recipe for disaster. Even if Richard escapes an accident himself, the chances of him causing other road users to have one are pretty high. Wearing a Walkman radio is just plain stupid. He can hear the music, but that's all he can hear. Behavior like this is just asking for trouble. Richard is not wearing any brightly colored conspicuous clothing, and so he is not easily seen, and therefore much more vulnerable. And he's not wearing a helmet. This rider understands road safety. He's wearing a brightly colored jacket so he can be seen easily. His bike looks in good condition, has reflectors on the wheels, and carries a tall flag so that he and his bike are very easily seen in any situation. If he does have an accident, he's wearing a helmet to protect his head. Just imagine the result of an unprotected head hitting the roadway, or a car traveling at about 70 kilometers per hour. An important factor with death or injury on the road often involves the distance it takes us to stop. In this demonstration, the stop sign will be put out unexpectedly when the group is fairly close. Okay, everybody stopped within one step. Let's see how far it takes this cyclist to stop. Well, you can see it was quite a long distance. In fact, 7 meters, or almost the width of the street. Now let's see how far a car traveling at about 60 kilometers per hour takes to stop. Well, that total distance is 25 meters, or almost 3 times the width of the road. It's easy to see that if a person ran out onto the road where and when our stop sign appeared, then that person would have had no chance at all. And don't forget that our driver knew all about this test and was expecting to have to stop quickly.
She shouldn't be too long now. Oh, why can't I get the bus on? You know she said to wait, so just be patient.
Sorry I'm late, love.
Oh, that's okay. George, sit in your proper seat and do your seatbelt up. You know what happened this morning. I don't like it. Anyway, it doesn't fit me. Mum's not wearing hers. Mother!
Sorry, everyone.
Mum, Jan Harrington had an accident yesterday and it was very serious.
Yes, I know. But I heard a little while ago that she's over the critical stage and she's going to be all right.
Oh, that's good. When will she be back at school?
I don't really know. I suppose it won't be for a month or so yet.
Road safety concerns all of us. We are all vulnerable. We all think it couldn't happen to me. It can happen. But we can all lessen the chances of it happening if we take proper care on the road. Jason didn't take proper care. Nor did Jane. Nor does Richard. George needs to be reminded. Susan's mother is a bit forgetful. Everybody needs to be aware and to stop and think about the dangers on the road because, after all, road safety begins with all of us.